Great morning, great morning. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I'm just happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for you. I'm happy and grateful for life. I don't take life for granted. I don't take it. Man, I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that I have breath in my body today. And because of that, I'm willing to learn, continue to learn how to be me unapologetically through a posture of submission to Jehovah God, that I walk out humility. I'm happy and grateful for you. It is our Warriors Wednesday. Shout out to Sarai. Yeah, Sarai's Wednesday. I feel like we don't shout out Cairo and Egypt, but okay. But anyway, Warriors Wednesday. We're warriors that are victorious, and I'm happy and I'm grateful. Thank you for your willingness to be accountable. Thank you for knowing that you are healthy, that you are wealthy, that you are prosperous, and that everything that your hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow. I'm thankful. And the reason I know that you know that about you is because we've been saying that 3 days a week for 7 months. So even if you don't feel like it, I know deep down inside, you know it's real and you know it's true. So we are reading or going through John C. Maxwell, How Successful People Think. And today I want us to add on, for those who are taking notes, realistic and strategic thinking, okay? Realistic and strategic thinking. Because here's the thing. You gotta have realistic thinking, all right? In order to get rid of stinking thinking, you gotta be able to have realistic thinking, all right? So what is that? What is reality? Reality is the difference between what we wish for and what is, all right? So I know I got some people who, what are y'all called? Let me think. Optimistic, like, these, people who are just like, they're optimistic, they see everything that's great, they're always positive and like, no, it's gonna get better, you're burnt all the way across your body and you're like, it's okay, it's good because I'm still breathing, it's great. I mean, that's wonderful, all right? That is a positive attitude. You must have it, all right? Positivity brings joy. Joy brings fulfillment of life, all that great stuff. But it comes a point where you have to also do a reality check. You have to have realistic thinking, because reality is the difference between what we wish for and what is, okay? So you have to be willing to engage in realistic thinking if you want to solve problems and minimize mistakes, okay? You want to solve problems. You want to be willing to learn from your mistakes. Listen, if you don't have realistic thinking, it's hard for you to learn from your mistakes because you don't face the realities either enough or long enough to find the mistake that's in it for you to work on it in you, okay? So we make realistic thinking the foundation of everything we do, if it's in our life, in business, because we derive certainty and security from it, all right? So why should you recognize the importance of realistic thinking? Number one, realistic thinking minimizes downside risk. Actions always have consequences. So realistic thinking helps you determine what those consequences could be. And it's crucial because only by recognizing and considering consequences can you plan for them. All right? So realistic thinking, it downsizes your risk. That's self-explanatory. All right? You know that for everything that we do, there's a consequence. So if we're always like, oh, like you don't even look at the consequence of something you might do. I mean, why are you all burnt up? You probably did something that you was just not paying attention to. You shouldn't have been in the place to get burned anyway. Realistic, all right? You know the stove is hot. Realistically, you shouldn't be dancing next to it. All right. Soapbox. I ain't gonna get on one today. So realistic thinking gives you a target and a game plan. All right. So for your optimistic people, I need y'all to understand that hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. All right. Realistic thinking leads to excellence in leadership and management because it requires people, again, to face reality. Realistic thinkers understand the difference in the important decisions and those that merely are necessary. Okay? So you gotta look at trials, you gotta look at tribulations, you gotta look at them face to face. All right. In order for you to really be able to have a realistic outcome, a realistic plan, you got to be willing to see the ugly, to see the things that you don't want to face. But if you don't plan on that level, you're not going to succeed. Okay? You're not going to succeed. The decisions that matter relate directly to your purpose. Okay? Until thought is linked with purpose, there's no intelligent accomplishment. Write that down. Until thought is linked with purpose, there's no intelligent accomplishment. Okay? You can't fully accomplish something. You can't even get to the core of the real issue of something if you're not willing to be realistic. Okay? So for my traders, if you keep blowing bags and you just like, I'm gonna take this $20 and I'm gonna make it, grow into 1,000. I'm not saying it won't happen, but there's gonna come a point where you gotta grab some realistic thinking and realize that maybe you have poor money management. You gotta reality will bring you to the core of the issue. All right, realistic thinking. Number 3, realistic thinking is a catalyst for change. People who rely on hope for their success rarely make change a high priority. If you rely on hope for your circumstances and your situations, your trials and your tribulations, you rarely make change in you a priority. There's nothing like staring reality in the face to make a person recognize the need for change. Now, this goes back to understanding we can't control anyone but ourselves. We can't change anyone but ourselves. But if we never are willing to take a realistic outlook of ourselves, change won't be a priority. Change alone doesn't bring growth, but you cannot grow without change. Let me say that again. Man, this feels like a pow, but reality checks are just that. But here's this. Change alone does not bring growth, but you cannot grow without change. Yeah, that'll put me right on the soapbox. I'm going to let that one ride. Number 4, realistic thinking provides security. How is that? Because disappointment is the difference between expectations and reality. Realistic thinking minimizes the difference between the two. All right? Disappointments is the difference between expectations and reality. What you expect and what's really going on. What you expect and what's really going on. All right? Realistic thinking minimizes the difference between the two. Okay? Man, that's good. Expectation. Man, I would love for Jaden to drive us home, but the reality is he's 7. So I got to hit this 6 hours and 44 minutes by myself. All right. Number 5, realistic thinking gives you credibility. Oh yeah, this is good. All right. Realistically, when you can do realistic planning, it positions you to win. So you think about, like when it's a team you got to choose to be on and they got captains. You remember when we were little and we gonna play baseball and basketball. I was one that was never picked, but it's all good. It's cool. I don't take it personal. But the leaders, right? Whose team do you want to be on? You want to be on the one that you know gonna win. But what makes you know that they're gonna win? They're the ones that they strategically plan it. Okay? I've never seen Tate play, but I know she was good. So if we playing ball, I'm gonna want to be on her team because I already know her personality. All right? She gonna plan that thing out. She gonna know where to put who. She gonna know who's weak. Blah 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 blah. So I'm standing on line. You want to be there? Why? It brings security. So even though I know I can't play, I know that she can. So she's gonna put us where we need to go to win. All right? It brings security. Realistic thinking minimizes. Oh, that's the wrong one. It brings credibility. My bad, y'all. It's credible because I know what she's doing. All right? Realistically, because I know she plans and she organized. She played ball, so she's gonna do that. Versus if I had versus if it was a me. Y'all don't want to be on my team. Y'all want to be over there. She has more credibility in that than me. All right. We ain't doing that. We're going to be over there thinking and talking. So the best leaders ask realistic questions before casting vision. Y'all heard that? So a realistic thinker, leader, whatever, before you even cast a vision, you already have asked questions. Wow. Is it possible? Have I identified and articulated the areas that will make this dream difficult to achieve? See, that's why if we playing ball, y'all want to go on her team, not mine. I promise you. All right. Number 6, realistic thinking provides a foundation to build on. Most ideas and efforts don't accomplish their intended results because they rely too much on what we wish rather than what is. Realistic thinking provides a foundation. You got to have a solid foundation. All right? We can't build a house in midair. That's the same way with your plans and your thoughts and your ideas. They got to start from the bottom. Okay? If you want anything we do, we need to walk on solid foundation. Anything that we want to build within ourselves, within a team, an organization, your business, whatever, it's got to start with a solid foundation. Anything that's built on sand is going to sink. It's the same thing. That's why you got to be realistic with your goals, your dreams, all of that, your relationships. You got to be realistic. This isn't just about business. This is about life. This is about this journey, okay? Number 7, realistic thinking is a friend to those in trouble. I'm going to read this. If creativity is what you would do if you were unafraid of the possibility of failure, then reality is dealing with failure if it does happen. Realistic thinking gives you something concrete to fall back on during times of trouble, which can be very reassuring. Certainty in the midst of uncertainty brings stability. That's good. Realistic thinking is a friend to those in trouble. All right? That's self-explanatory. You got to be realistic of your situations, okay? You got to be realistic. When we're not realistic about something, we're setting ourselves up for failure. When we're not realistic, we're not willing to change. Situations don't change by themselves. All right. Faith without works is dead. You got to do something. Realistic thinking will put you in there. Number 8, realistic thinking brings the dream to fruition. All right. It brings it to fruition. For someone who's a natural optimistic, oh no, that ain't it. Let me go. Let's see. British novelist. I didn't even underline anything on this part, but it's number 8. So if you don't get close enough to a problem, you can't tackle it. If you don't take a realistic look at your dream and what it will take to accomplish it, you will never achieve it. All right. So if you don't get close enough to a problem, you can't tackle it. If you don't take a realistic look at your dream, and what it will take to accomplish it, you'll never achieve it. Okay. So how to recognize the importance of realistic thinking? 1, you want to develop an appreciation for truth. Now, y'all hear me. If you in the women's group, if you on my teams in any place, y'all listen to this because y'all talk about me giving pow-pows, all right? So develop an appreciation for truth. People tend to exaggerate their success and minimize their failures or deficiencies, okay? But you have to understand and appreciate that the truth will set you free, but it will first make you angry. If you want to become a realistic thinker, however, you need to get comfortable with dealing with the truth and face it, all right? Why do I say y'all listen to this? Here's a quote from President Harry S. Truman. He said, "I never give them hell. I just tell the truth and they think it's hell." That's the way many people react to truth. Okay? So why am I saying that? You know, when someone tell you something, and I'm talking about someone in your safe place. I'm talking about someone who's speaking life into you. I'm talking about someone whose voice you know is called to you in this season and they're safe. When they tell you something and you feel like it's a pow-pow and it make you mad and you want to be like, see, that's why I don't tell her nothing. That's why I want to deal with her. Blah, 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 blah. You need to learn how to appreciate the truth. All right? Because don't shoot the messenger. Okay? Don't get mad at me. Go to the source. Listen, we got to learn how to appreciate truth, okay? Because that's what sets you free. That's what sets you free, all right? Only way you can be free is you got to start facing some stuff head on, all right? Then you got to do your homework. Number 2, you must first get the facts, all right? In order for you to deal with a situation realistically, you got to get to the facts. So if it's something personal, you got to get to the root of the issue. All right. We got to stop trying to deal with stuff with this Band-Aid approach. All right. Realistic thinking is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. But you think about if you got weeds in your yard and you keep just pulling the tops off, the weed keep growing. If you don't want weeds, you got to be willing to dig and pull out from the root. That's realistic thinking. All right. Let's see. Your thinking doesn't have to be original, but it has to be solid. All right. So when you get these pow-pows and you're ready to look at yourself and all of that, and you see the core of your issue, you don't have to reinvent a new wheel to start change. You find someone who done dealt with what you dealt with. You find you educate yourself. You go and you get firm, solid help so that you can grow and make change. All right. Number 3, think through the pros and cons. Hold on, because I'm running out of time. I want to do more. All right. Realistic. Boy, realistic gonna have us just here all day. You got to think through the pros and cons, all right? You got to be willing, number 4, to picture the worst case scenario. Y'all know what this means, all right? So your goal isn't to be negative or expect the worst, but just be ready for all cases, all right? You just got to be ready. Give yourself the best chance for the best result, all right? If you picture the worst, you can and examine it honestly, then you can have like a real reality and like a real picture of how you need to solve whatever. All right. Realistic thinking. All right. Number 5, align your thinking with your resources. All right. So I'm gonna go back to my traders. I know Millie Mills is a millionaire in trading, but you got to align yourself with your resources. If you don't have $1 million, stop increasing your lots. All right. Stay where you at. Okay. Or you're going to keep blowing bags. Don't live in this dream. Stay in reality. When we're dealing with ourselves, if we going through something, all right. If you struggling, if you robbing Peter to pay Paul, you gotta do a reality check. Are you living over your means? Have you added on things that you don't need to have? Do you have Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime? Like you only got one set of eyeballs, you got one head. Why you got 3 different things? You don't need all them choices and options. If your money is funny, okay, that's a reality check. That's realistic thinking, all right? It's when you're willing to go and see your situation for what it is, and then you realistically look at the resources that you have, all right? You got to look at the resources that you have, and don't overextend yourself when it comes to people. See, this realistic thinking, I ain't gonna do strategic. This realistic thinking, it helps you across the board. And I love it because one thing for me, I think I lived in this la la land for so long, man, I refuse to come out of reality, all right? Because it helps me. It's not that I'm a glutton for pain. Actually, I'm not. And because I'm not, I'm willing to look at things differently within me so that I can always try to right my wrongs, all right? You got to have realistic thinking to do that. You have to be able to look at your situation in a realistic, not an optimistic way, okay? So even when it comes to people and relationships and things that we encounter on a day-to-day basis, all right? The same things in the people, the situations, where we're at, our environment, everything. You got to put it on your realistic thinking, and you got to be true to yourself. And you need to ask yourself, do these things add value to me or do they weigh me down? Okay. When it comes to your money, have I stretched myself too thin? And if you have, it's okay, but you got to be real. You got to go back and you got to relay out your foundation, and you got to get back in a realistic way on how to solve your problems. Solve your issues with a realistic mind, not an optimistic one, okay? Because if you don't, you're gonna miss major gaps and major things, okay? You're gonna miss it. Even for me, you know, I deal with things in my health, but if I have to be honest, I gotta go to the root of stuff. So yes, I'm gonna take the little pink pill for my heart, as Jaden calls it. But in the process of that, I'm not gonna become dependent on it. I'm going to look at my behavior with food. I'm going to look at the things that I'm doing. I'm going to look at my behavior with exercise. See, that's a reality, okay? A realistic mindset, because there's the issue. The goal is to come off of the medication because I'm healthy. So I take the tool that's given to me, but I have to take a realistic approach on me and how I'm living and how I'm eating and how mobile I am and what I'm doing and what I'm putting in my mouth and what times I eat. Like, you gotta, that's realistic versus optimistic. Optimistic is I'm just going to pop that pill and just believe that one day it's going to make my whole little insides better where I don't have to take it no more. No, sir, no, ma'am. Okay. So I got through. See, I was talking fast today because I did not want to give pow-pows. And it's 10:29 because I felt myself going on the soapbox. So I'm going to stop. But I want you to know realistic thinking is mandatory, is necessary, is needed for it's how successful people think, but it's how you should think to be successful for you on your journey. Okay. So again, I'm Nicole D. Jones. I want you to remember that we are healthy, we are wealthy, and we're prosperous. And everything our hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow. That we are shifting our perspective, that we're being the best version of us that we can do unapologetically as we submit to Jehovah God. We will walk out the humility. We're not doing it in arrogance and pride. And because of that, we're going to stay humble, we're going to stay positive, and we're going to stay focused. Okay? We are warriors that are victorious. No matter what trial is facing you, no matter what pressure you feel, remember that this is the number of completion. All of that's about to be deaded. It's about to be done because we're walking into our new beginnings free and light. Okay? We're going to put our realistic thinking caps on. We're going to face things head on, not in guilt, shame, or condemnation, but to know that we are going to do exceedingly and abundantly more than we could even think or imagine because we serve a God that's out of a box. All right. Stay out the box today. All right. I'm Nicole D. Jones. Continue to have a fantabulous day. Smooches. Yes.